Hello, 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 and welcome back to the fourth house on the right. Great to have you back if you've been here before, and if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoy the content that you find over here. You guys, today I am getting out of my garden because it's time for fall planting. And one of the things that I really want to do, or one of the things that I try to do, is be encouraging to anyone who wants to start a garden or who has started a garden but has issues in the garden. I have a ton of issues and I just have to be a problem solver, right? But what you see a lot of is people who have these beautiful lush gardens, or you see the end part of all the work that has gone into making that garden so lush and so nice. There's several YouTubers that I follow who have methods that I absolutely adore, but they've been doing these things for years and years and years, which has allowed them to get to the point where every time they're on camera showing you something, it looks great. But there's a process to getting there. And that's kind of like what I wanted to talk about today. So normally I do my gardening on Sundays because Sunday truly is self-care Sunday for me. I used to do self-care Sunday videos, and it was all about hair care, skin care, and just how taking care of your body, taking care of yourself, helps your mental health, makes you feel great. Now that has kind of evolved into gardening, where I'm getting out and I'm communing with nature. I'm honestly talking with God a lot, and I'm talking with my grandmother, God rest her soul, talking with her a lot, and I'm just feeling grounded with my feet in the grass, my feet on the ground. It helps me feel grounded. It's great for my mental health, and it's really great exercise. So that's typically how I spend my Sundays. I was not able to get out here yesterday because my dear sweet mommy popped by and paid us a visit. So we sat out here on the patio just hanging out and talking and having a good time. So I was able to get some things done yesterday, but not most. So I'm going to finish up some things today, and I wanted to bring you along for the ride because I do want to show that other side of gardening that's not always so pretty. So here we go. Let's go take a look. Let's suit up. No, I gotta be covered up. I already have sunscreen on. Oh, this is perfect timing too because the sun has gone in just a little bit and it's not super duper hot. Like, it's hot, but it's not feels like 100 degrees hot. So here we go. You can see I got things cleaned out pretty well. I had a little boo-boo down here. I pierced a hole into the pipes for the sprinklers. No es bueno. So I got a lot of things cleaned out, some weeds pulled. I still have some more I need to pull out. In this little section right here, I got some Swiss chard and some perpetual spinach planted. And then all of this was mostly weeds. Got all those pulled out and planted in some brassicas. I think on this side I have purple cabbage and red cabbage. And then same thing here. Got weeds pulled out and planted in some mustard greens, some turnip greens, and I don't know, maybe more cabbage right there. I can't remember. And then same thing over here. There was spaghetti squash over here, and I was trying to beat that vine borer. Didn't work. I missed one day, y'all, and that thing swooped on in and just took my spaghetti squashes out. So finally pulled those out and planted in some garlic. You can see there's one coming up right there. And then, so there's garlic, there's a couple of rows of garlic right here, and a couple of rows of garlic like right in here. So I came through and planted some broccoli and some cauliflower over here. And we'll see how those do. Meanwhile, the thing I really, really wanted to talk about is our way on the other side. Oh, before we get there, I gotta share this with you guys. I have been trying to do this, oh, poor leaf. I've been trying to do this for a couple of years actually. This is ginger, like actual ginger. Here's the root right here, the ginger root. Can you see it? See it? It's actual ginger. I cannot believe that this finally is working. And I can't wait to be able to harvest ginger off that one little root. I bought that at the grocery store, and I eat ginger pretty much every day in some capacity. But I just took a piece of a ginger from the grocery store and stuck it in this soil. I think the difference this time was that I kept it properly watered, maybe. And we're gonna cross our fingers and pray God that that continues to grow well. Moving on to this other side of the yard. This is what I mean when I say I want to share everything with you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This section over here, starting where that lemongrass is, which that lemongrass was huge. You can see all the brown lemongrass on the ground because I had to come and cut that thing back like a bush. Everything from there over to maybe right here was already there, and there was this big tree. You can see the stump there. Excuse my shadow. There was this big tree. There's a stump. It really was more like a bush, but it got destroyed. First of all, the freezes that we've been having, it was already struggling. Then when we had the tornado and the Hurricane Beryl back to back, it just was not going to pop back. So we just cut it down, cut it back. I have never amended the soil over here. And I've never actually planted any vegetables over here because the soil is so bad. Like you can see, it's just so dry and nothing will grow over here. So I don't want to waste my compost over here. I'm not going to grow anything. What I'm going to do, I've already planted some cowpeas, some black-eyed peas. Here's one coming up. The reason I'm doing that is because the beans will act as a cover crop so that the weeds don't come back, because I've pulled all these weeds out. All weeds. Pulled all those out. Now I want to put a cover crop in there. The beans will add some nutrients to the soil. So that's all I'm going to plant over here is just some beans. Well, maybe I'll plant a flower or two, but it's not much that's going to grow very well right there. This section over here is new. And I did have a couple of cucumber plants there. Not sure what I'm going to put here for fall, but this is all I'm working on today. It's just this side of the garden. Here's the thing. Sometimes we do have to be strategic about planting. If I tried to come over here and grow some veg, it just would not work. You just saw me pick up that soil and how bad. And this, it's not dry because I haven't watered it. I water over here just as much. It's a sprinkler system, so the whole garden gets watered on the same day for the same amount of time. So that's not the issue. The issue is the soil. So when you see people who have these beautiful lush gardens, they have great soil, or they've amended the soil. They're using compost. That's normally what I do. But because I know that this would take a ton of compost. And I know that. So rather than do that, I would like to use some plants that can help do the work for me. And that's what the beans are going to do. You can see here that I've been raking dirt and pulling up weeds. And this is what I mean when I say that people do all the work. You don't see that part necessarily. You just see things growing nicely. But just know that you have to get there. You have to start some kind of way. You have to start at some point. The whole thing is just to start, because once you start, things get growing faster than you can imagine. And that's the best part. Other than that, there's only a few things that still have to come out. Like this sagebush never comes out. It's just going to keep growing and growing, and it's going to keep coming back. I cut it back, make smudge sticks. I make sage and rosemary oil for my skin and my hair. Of course, we cook with it. And Thanksgiving's coming up, so that's going to come in handy. But The okra plants still have to come out, but I refuse to take them out because they're still producing. Look at the flowers. They're still producing. Look at that. So I'm not going to take that up yet. And same thing on this other side here. It's still producing. So I'm going to wait before I take those out and decide what to put in next. And I do try to do crop rotation, but if you caught my previous video, I talked about whether or not crop rotation really works in a small scale garden. I don't feel like it does, so I'm not going to stress about that anymore. I'm not going to concern myself with, whether or not I should put brassicas in the same place that I had them before, because it kind of isn't going to matter for me because my garden is fairly small. So I'm still learning, even though I consult people on how to, grow their own food. I personally am still learning a lot. I'm learning a ton about how to amend soil, and I'm passing that on, trying to pass that on to other people. I'm learning a ton about, like I said, crop rotation, trying to share that information, watering, all the things. We keep learning, you guys, and we keep growing in life and in the garden. There's always a lesson. I love these garden lessons. Case in point. Well, before I get to case in point, let me say this. If we give up instead of learning the actual lesson, we'll never grow. So every year I have something that I learn out here in the garden, whether it's something personal, something about myself that I never knew or never thought I would do, or it's something that's actually gardening related. So as I was saying, if I give up, then I'm not going to grow. The whole point is to learn the lesson and to be better for it. Now, case in point, I said earlier that the vine borers got me again. And when they got me, I thought, man, I was so diligent. I was trying so hard. I could easily say, okay, I'm not doing squash anymore. I'm not even going to try because every year the vine borer is going to get me. But instead, I said, well, maybe I have time for one more try up front. Haven't done that, but I am still going to try squash next year again. Other thing I learned this year is how to use grow bags. I absolutely love to scatter pots within my garden. Pots like these little terracotta pots, they usually have their own little pan, so I don't have too many issues with them, and they look good. Plus, those are for things like mint that I don't want all over the place. One thing that I learned last year, I chitted my own potatoes and put them in a grow bag just like this, and I had it sitting over in the garden over there. I did this with potatoes, with carrots, and with one other crop that I can't remember right now. The reason I can't remember is because I ended up throwing those out, the entire grow bags. Yes, 3 grow bags, 5-gallon, just like this one I'm about to show you. They were riddled with ants. So the lesson there was pretty simple. Don't put grow bags on bare dirt in the garden, because the ants will find a home and they will take over. So I have some more potatoes that I have chitted, and I'm going to plant them in this grow bag. But instead of putting it over in the garden, I'm going to leave it here on my patio. And this little hack, that is a plastic boot tray. I wasn't using it, so I decided to put it underneath my grow bags, because I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the water just seeps out of the grow bags. There's no way to hold it in. So this helps me to water and keep water in the actual grow bags, because when the water pools up here, it just continues to wick up the bag, and then when I see that it is fully watered, I can just leave it alone. So that's another lesson that I learned. I had literally thrown away 3 grow bags that were full of dirt, because they were riddled with ants, and I didn't want to have to deal with that. So as you can see over there, I used to have grow bags all in that middle section, and one over there and one over there, all of them riddled with ants. Will not do it again. I've learned my lesson. And rather than saying, okay, I'm not going to grow potatoes anymore because I am a no-dig gardener, so I don't want root vegetables, too many root vegetables in my actual garden, because then I would have to dig them up, and that is counter to what I'm doing. But instead of me saying I'm not going to grow potatoes anymore, I just do the same thing. I'm going to grow them in this grow bag, but I'm going to keep the grow bag over here on my patio, like I said, instead of putting it over on bare soil. Lesson learned. We go back, we regroup, we do more research, and we try again. This is what life is all about. So I'm going to get out here and get to work over there in that corner, because there's a lot to do still. And I'm gonna get to planting some cowpeas over there, and I will check in with you guys when things start to happen, hopefully in the next 7 to 10 days, because my seeds should start to come up by then. So see you next week, and thanks again for tuning in. Please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe and follow if you're not already, and thanks again for tuning in. Till next time, bye.